Hey, welcome to the studio of Carini Arts. Check out CariniArts.com for my shop, my blog, my podcast. I have a lot of shows, a lot of events coming up. I've been doing a lot of work in the studio, so a lot of stuff to share with you and a lot of things to invite you behind the scenes to see. So I hope to be doing some more videos soon, and who knows, eventually maybe I'll have somebody actually join me on a live feed, ask me a question. I do occasionally do live feeds on Facebook, but not as often. I love the way that YouTube does them in the terms of you can save them and share them in different ways, and they will just be archived like a library. So that is why I do the talks here. So if you're looking for guidance or somebody to share their candid experiences of being an artist, that is what I'm here for. And today, I wanted to talk about ads on Facebook, Instagram, and other social media platforms, why I choose not to pay for them. So, I come about this from somebody with a lot of experience. I once was somebody that did spend a lot of money on Facebook and Instagram ads. And back in the day when they first started doing them, I really found it to be something that was advantageous. For every dollar I would spend on Facebook or Instagram, I'd reach around 1,000 people or more. And that was simply by boosting a post. So it was real easy to do. You didn't have to think about a lot. It was just a matter of how much money you were going to spend. And so at that time, I found it to be worthwhile because it helped me grow my audience. It helped me reach more people. And for every dollar spent, it was reaching a good amount of people where it felt like overall it was a win win. Now, what happened over time was as Facebook and Instagram developed and got more complicated, they added about a million different features, targeted ads, things of that nature. And that's where it got tough for me. I actually reached a point around 2015, 2016 where business was going well. And so I actually decided to take a chance and hire a marketing agency and to get them to manage my ads. And if you are running a business, I'm sure that you have already been contacted by a marketing agency, somebody that wants to help you grow your business and they can scale your business tenfold, or they'll make radical promises of what they can do for you. I was willing to invest a certain amount of money into that, knowing that there was a chance that I could lose that money. Because anytime you invest in something of that nature, there's no guarantee. But if you're going to invest in something, why not invest in yourself? So I did take the chance because I wanted to see if it worked. And I think I went through at least three different marketing agencies, each promising me essentially the same thing and none of them delivering. Now, that's not to say that it wouldn't work for you or for your business, but for me personally, it did not. And I think a big part of that had to do with the fact that I am my business and my business is me. I am my art. My art is me. I cannot separate the two. And in that regard, nobody knows how to represent or present me as well as I do. And I am active on the social media. It's not like I'm somebody that doesn't post or do the work where I was delegating it to somebody else. I was somebody that had been doing that and knew my brand and decided I wanted to delegate it. And I just didn't feel that they were doing it to the level that I was just doing it on my own. Now, I had to weigh in the amount of time I was having to invest to do it on my own, but I decided that it was ultimately something that I wanted to play close to the chest and manage myself. There was a point where I was spending around $2,000 to $3,000 a month between marketing agency and what they were dumping into the Facebook ads. And by having them manage the Facebook ads, they were only taking a percentage of the money that I was giving them, of course, understandably so, and putting them into the Facebook ads. Whereas if I was managing the Facebook ads, I could have put all of that money into the ads. But I still wouldn't invest in Facebook ads or Instagram ads today because of the limited reach. So now, if I try to do the same exact type of posts that I did before and boost them in the ways that I did in the past, I have found that I only reach about 100 people per dollar. So 100 people per dollar versus 1,000 people per dollar. So what Facebook and Instagram essentially did was they tried to hook you like a drug and just give you a little bit of a taste and make you think that it was working, and then they try to scale back, give you less and less while charging you more and more. And I just couldn't wrap my head around that in a way that I would allow myself to continue doing it. And the other thing I found was that, yes, it was nice because it helped me jump the numbers quite a bit and just reach more people. But I wouldn't say that it necessarily resulted in more conversions or better relationships or better engagement in the long term. And this is why. When people reach you or find you organically and they choose to follow you or share your work, They are doing so because they are invested, they are interested, they are passionate about something that you are doing, they feel a level of connectivity. When it comes to advertising and people that find you that way, those are people oftentimes that are much less likely to share or engage in the way that the people that find you organically will. And I think that that is something that in the long term has negatively impacted me on the algorithms of both Facebook and Instagram and various platforms, as well as the amount that I post. I think that that's a contributing factor. But with this being all that I do, and as much as I do, I really want to share the things that I do. So I have my own way of doing it, and I'm okay with where my numbers are. I don't care about this illusion of, oh, I have X amount of followers or Y amount of followers. That doesn't matter to me because I would rather have fewer followers that are engaged and interested than to have a lot more that are not. And that's something that I learned over time. And you won't really learn that until you kind of experience these things and you go through. And when you're younger and starting out your business, it is exciting to have a lot of people want to follow you and the idea of that and of growing your numbers. And I think that I was very much trapped in that part of my ego and wanting to grow. And there is a psychology to it on a subconscious level. When people see that you have higher numbers, they are inclined to be more engaged. But I did eventually decide that I just wasn't going to dump the money into Facebook and Instagram anymore because of the limited reach and the fact that those people had not found me organically, and therefore they were not going to engage as much, and they might be negatively impacting my ability to reach more people via the algorithm and its methods, which are constantly changing, and there's not really a way to figure that out. So that is what it is. But it's another reason that I've diversified where I will post using a variety of social media platforms. So I am on just about every platform. And I have found that at times, by just having a Facebook page during the pandemic, there was a time that I think Facebook and Instagram just gave me $500 of free advertising. So when they gave me that, I took advantage of that because that was free. And I'll regularly have Yelp reach out to me and say, hey, we're going to give you $300 in free advertising. But once I run through that $300, I cut the ads because it's just not my audience. People that are going to buy art from me are not people that just generally stumble across me. I don't get a lot of the impulse buyers. Some artists may, and if you do, then that's absolutely great. This could work for you. But for me personally, I don't. People want to follow me for a while. They want to get connected. They want to know my stories. They want to get to know me. And for that reason, the ads just don't translate, despite the fact that Yelp calls me on almost a daily basis telling me that, oh, the last person just didn't know what they were doing, but this person does. And the thing that they're going to tell me is going to just change my life and change my business forever moving forward. When really they end up telling me the same thing. And it's the same spiel from the marketing agencies and stuff too. So ultimately, it comes down to how you want to manage your business, how you want to portray your business, and what you want to do. Same thing with Pinterest. Pinterest has an option for advertising as well. And at one point during the pandemic, they gave me a couple $100s. So it is good to set yourself up as a business because a lot of times you will be given opportunities to leverage free advertising. And by all means, try it out, test it, do some different things while you can. But when it ran out, I just didn't want to keep dumping the money because costs of living in San Diego have gone up. And I found that the ads were not generating enough revenue for it to warrant me to continue using them. I was losing money. And the point of advertising is to grow your business. So if your advertising is not growing your business, then it is not really helping you. Now, is it? So there's a number of other ways that you could advertise just through organic posting, I find, and through building relationships, through relationships with balanced reciprocity, cross promoting, things of that nature. So you don't necessarily need to use the advertising. Now, the other thing about the advertising from Facebook and Instagram that started to turn me off from it was when they added a million different features like targeted advertising and, oh, well, are you targeting reach? Are you targeting website clicks? Are you targeting conversions? And then there's retargeting ads. And the one type of ad that I was using for a while that I did find was beneficial was a retargeting ad that when people would click on a product on my website, they would then via Facebook and Instagram get retargeted with whatever it was that they were looking at on my website. That was a high conversion one and the only type of ad that I've ever run that was successful. But then with the recent changes via Apple and with privacy, it shifted everything. And so now, because of the limitations via privacy, those ads that would retarget no longer work whatsoever. So they're just completely obsolete. No real reason for me to utilize that. But I do have to say that although Facebook and Instagram are saying that they don't monitor what you look at, uh, or share the information, we all know that that's not true. Because how many of you have had just a thought come in your mind, an obscure thought, and all of a sudden you're getting ads for that too? So they're in the head. It's not just it's not just me making it up, or having crazy conspiracy theories. That is definitely a thing, because I have thought of some pretty obscure things at times, and all of a sudden I'm seeing ads for them. So hey, clever marketing on their part. But I'm curious if you have used or utilized uh, advertising via any social media platforms, and if so, which have worked for you. But I do find that overall, nothing really beats the organic. If you look at celebrities and the most successful people, they're not people that are running ads or scaling. They don't even post that often. But I suppose that they're working with a different deck of cards, and so we have to factor that into consideration. So what works for one may not work for you, and what doesn't work for somebody else may work for you. But I am curious about your experiences with advertising. But I am here to tell you that you do not have to advertise. So if you're somebody that just doesn't have an advertising budget and you can't dump money into that, I feel you. I understand. That's basically where I am now. Cost of living made it so that I had to shift all the money towards this. And I just find that this is a better route. And I'm having the same level of success. I'm not losing conversions because of my lack of advertising. The other interesting thing about Facebook and Instagram, I'd say particularly Instagram, is the amount of people that will message you and say, "Well, hey, I'll share on my page if you pay this much, and for this much, I'll share it this many times to this many people and via this many platforms." And there's a number, as an artist, a number of art pages that will do that. Some of them more successful than others. And in my earlier years, I did dabble in that, and I did try that out, and I did find that more or less it kind of worked, but at the same time didn't work. It did help me in growing my audience, but what I found was that it was a lot of just other artists that started following me, which is not a bad thing. It's cool to have other artists follow me, but as a full-time artist, I am looking for people to buy my work. I'm looking for conversions, I'm looking for sales, and it didn't necessarily translate to that. So again, it goes back to the organic idea I was sharing earlier, because a lot of those people that then followed me, a lot of times at 20,000 plus on Instagram and 50,000 plus on Facebook, sometimes I'll post things and I'll still only get like 3 likes or 5 likes. And it makes me question, okay, am I not reaching anybody, or am I just followed by a bunch of bots? So it's a real interesting thing, this dive into social media, how it works, the algorithm, and the utilization of ads, and whether or not they are effective. So share your thoughts. Let me know if it's worked for you. Let me know what your experience has been with ads, or if you have any questions about them. I'm happy to share my experience and what I've learned over the years. But those are my thoughts, and that is why I no longer spend money on Facebook or Instagram ads. I would say that if I ever have a post of something that's really new or really cool, that's wildly popular, I may dump a few bucks into just boosting the post. But I remember somebody from an advertising agency telling me the biggest waste of your money is to just boost a post. But that method that he described as a total waste worked for me for a long time in terms of just growing my audience. And I got just as many conversions from that method as I did from the actual conversion route. Whereas from the conversion route, I got no additional followers and still didn't really get many conversions. So again, everybody has a thought process on this. And there's going to be a lot of people that will tell you that, hey, I'll tell you how to do it and I'll help you scale your business. Take that with a grain of salt. I am somebody with experience from doing it. Not to say that some of these people don't know what they're doing or have ideas, but it's a gamble like anything else in life. So if you want to gamble with that, try it out, but start small and ease into it. Because the other thing that I found over time was that when you're competing for ads, which is how it works a lot of times, it's a bidding system. And as an artist, I am dumping money into ads to reach people that might be interested in art and home decor. Some of the big companies that I partner with, they dump a lot more money into their ads. And because they dump a lot more money into the ads, they get the premier audience, and you're left with the scraps at the bottom of the tree. But Facebook and Instagram aren't going to tell you that. But I'm here to tell you that. So let me know your thoughts. I'll talk to you next time. Have a great day. CariniArts.com.